Do you want to really know what's going on with me? Why I keep picking away at the Christian faith and at Jesus? And when I say Jesus, I'm talking about the Christian concept that our individual mind has created the person of Jesus to be based on the doctrines we have learned from the Bible. So when I keep picking away at Jesus, I'm not actually referring to the historical person we know as Yeshua ben Joseph that lived 2,000 years ago and whose supposed history was recorded in the Bible. But we know that since it's been translated through several languages to arrive at the English version of it, we know that the essence of what Jesus may have taught has been several times removed through the transliteration. So it's unreasonable to completely bank on what we read in the English scriptures. Even just going from Aramaic or from the Hebrew culture and skipping to the Greek culture and then skipping to the English culture, so many deep nuances are lost. And if we think that when we read the English Bible, we're getting the actual meaning of what was spoken 2,000 years ago, that's a fallacy. And it's an imagination. It's a concept that our mind, our intellectual mind, has formed around the story. So I'm not actually attacking or picking on the actual historical person. I am picking at the concepts. And the reason why I am picking at the concepts is, as you might know by now, I am a twin flame. I had the fortunate or unfortunate event and experience of encountering the other incarnation of my soul in another body, in another person. I met this other person, and it's like standing naked in front of the mirror, and you see everything that is missing within you, and everything that is missing in and as your soul. And so all of my sharings come from that experience. If you're a twin flame, also on the soul awakening journey, then you'll understand where I'm coming from. But for everyone else, especially Christians, this is going to seem extremely out there and extremely false. They will most likely say and think that I am deceived, but I know that I am not deceived. I know what this is all about now. And in the alignment with my twin soul, obviously the theme with which we incarnated in the mission and the program of our particular configuration is to deconstruct Christianity, to deconstruct Jesus to deconstruct our egoic faith, because our faith is really a coping mechanism to help us cope with our trauma, with our soul wounds. And Christianity makes for a wonderful band-aid to keep those unconscious soul trauma wounds unconscious, to keep them hidden away so we don't have to deal with it. But in my twin flame journey, once the soul activation happened, I see everything in my naked mirror. I see everything that is out of place. And first and foremost, because my twin is such a devoted follower of Jesus, and I'm getting it mirrored back to me through the energy of rejection, it's causing me a great deal of pain. But what that means is it's making my unconscious areas conscious to me, so I can understand, I can see the wounds. I can understand why they are there. And in my situation, seeing it in my mirror is Jesus actually functions as a band-aid and actually encourages the soul to remain asleep. Jesus takes the focus away from us becoming self-conscious, becoming self-aware of these internal processes. And I just like to share these vulnerable areas for other people to have something to orient by. If you're doing soul searching, for example, if you're a Christian and you're just feeling always depressed, no matter how much you pray and no matter how much you sing and praise to Jesus, there is that underlying, that subconscious feeling of depression. You can put on a mask for a while and smile and try and whip yourself up enough to convince yourself that you're joyful, but it's not lasting, because deep down below, the soul is weeping. The soul is neglected. The soul is abandoned, because ego puts all of the energy and focus on an external God in Jesus and directs all the love externally onto this spirit, onto this other divine being, and the soul inside of you is languishing. The soul inside of you is abandoned. It doesn't receive any of that love. In fact, the underlying emotion, the underlying feeling is one of self-loathing. That's why we give all of our attention and devotion to God, so we don't have to give any consideration to the soul. That's been my experience. And from those who engage and comment on my posts in agreement, have made the same discovery, how empty and abandoned their soul has been throughout their entire Christian life, because the focus, where focus goes, energy flows, it's been depleted. It's depleted our soul, because we don't give attention to our soul, because we think it's selfish, because the Bible has taught us you are supposed to deny yourself. So we don't give ourself any nurture, any validation, any acknowledgement. And it leaves us empty, it leaves us drained. And that is the unconscious feeling that simmers beneath the surface, that keeps the depression in place. So all of this was revealed through the twin flame journey. And I see it in my twin. Not to shame her for what she's doing. She's not conscious of what she's doing. But it's really her ego that is having a relationship with Jesus. And ego in the relationship with Jesus causes her to bypass her subconscious soul and not deal with the issues. Because if I can put my focus on Jesus, it soothes, it diminishes the pain temporarily, and I don't have to deal with these deeper issues. And it's a very real thing that because I'm connected to my twin, because we share one soul, I know what is going on deep down in the soul level. And I know that this is an unconscious surface play. The relationship with Jesus is a bypass. It helps her cope with all of life's traumas and possibly the trauma of past lives. And I'm by no means trying to take that away from her. She needs that support, and I wouldn't want to take it away from anyone. But at the same time, I want to make the unconscious conscious in myself and share my stories for those who are also deconstructing and try to make sense of what's going on, why they're feeling the way they're feeling. And that's why I make these videos. Not to shame anybody or bring embarrassment to anyone, but to be an example of what the soul awakening journey looks like. It will leave no stone unturned until the soul gets its validation and acknowledgement and gets elevated as the most important aspect of our life. Because without our soul, we cannot experience true life. So I hope this makes sense and helps somebody out there. And now you know the reason why I keep deconstructing the concepts that revolve around Christianity and Jesus, because they keep bypassing the real issue, which is what's going on deeply inside of you. Final thought, and I say, your soul is the most important aspect of life. Not Jesus, but your soul essence. But because we receive everything through the separated state of ego, and because ego, in its function to protect, only knows how to externalize and place the focus external of yourself, that is why we have given, quote unquote, God externally the importance and neglected our self-importance. But you have to look internally. Your soul, if you understand it through the heart, the consciousness of the heart, your soul is actually God. Don't allow ego to externalize it as some being outside of you and separate you from it, that you have to invite back into you. There's nothing to invite. Your soul is the direct essence that came out of the source energy of God. So your soul is actually the God that you are seeking to worship. But ego, through religion, has externalized it and separated it from you and made it something other. Only when you bring that attention and focus and energy back in recognizing that your soul is God, the God that you are seeking for, then you will plug into that eternal life, that abundant life, and it will resolve your depression issues, your sadness issues, because only through the soul you can truly connect to the source that is God. So your soul is the most important object, thing, essence in the universe. You are it. You are the I am that I am. Get this. Get this. It's life changing.